Friends, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 66. That's the closest we're going to get along this journey to 666, and that's kind of metal. But this is the first of our last 10. That's pretty awesome. We got about 2 months left. We might make it. If you remember a couple episodes back, we tried to make spun sugar, and that failed horribly. This is also going to be an equally terrible experiment, probably. We are going to try to achieve spherification. What is that? You're going to see. So we got a couple of things lined up here. This particular recipe is called the Wolfsbane Potion. We're going to do about a day's worth of prep, and once we do this, you kind of could just go immediately and make the drink. But we're making this for a little Halloween party tomorrow. So hopefully this holds and then it works. Here's how we're going to do ours. I've seen online a lot of tutorials that I watched and whatnot. It seems like people are making these in big batches. This is going to be a little bit smaller scale. What we're going to start with for this, as the recipe calls, 3.5 ounces of sour apples, or sour apple pucker. 3.5 ounces put into one dish. Let's just start with that. Keep it simple. We'll go step by step. Our 3.5 ounces, you might wonder why such a big container for that, because we're going to whisk it quite a bit and I needed some comfort room here to be able to do that. So in order to do spherification, as I was instructed and as I found out, you need to order 2 ingredients. And actually on Amazon, these came together because this is done quite commonly together. So the first thing you're going to need is sodium alginate. This is going to go into the sour apple. We need for our proportions, we only need 1 gram of this, and we're going to use the scale here to make sure we get only what we need, 1 gram. All right, we have our 1 gram of sodium alginate measured out. We're going to add that in and then just whisk it for quite a while. We need this to completely dissolve, and then after that we're going to let this sit until it thickens and it says all of the air has worked out of itself. I think that's going to be the most difficult part to really assess whether that's true or not. So we're going to add in and start to stir and whisk. I had seen a couple of tools online that were saying you could use a power blender for this and whatnot, but for such a small quantity, I don't know how well that would work. It also says that this could take like 10 to 15 minutes to completely dissolve and whatnot. So as I said, once it's done, we're supposed to just let it sit till all the bubbles and any air has worked itself out. So we're going to pause here, jump to the future, and I will catch up with you guys in just a little bit. Hey guys, all right, this is sort of our hopeful backup in case the first method doesn't work well. It is now evening from when we made that at like 11:30 noon today, and it hadn't really hardened up. So some of the stuff I'd seen online involved letting this mix and hydrate in a blender. Most of what I was seeing, though, was for very large quantities, and we did not need that much, right? Just as a backup, I'm willing to risk it and sacrifice some sour pucker for this. So I'm going to triple what we did before so it works better in a blender, hopefully. So this time we're going to use 3 grams of the sodium alginate and 10.5 ounces proportionally of the apple sours. So I'm going to put this in the blender first. And then what it says is to kind of put the top on and get it going at a low speed. And then as this is running, if I can do this without it like splashing every frick where, sort of like as the vortex of the liquid starts to form from the blender running, then sort of slowly dump the powder in and let it mix. It's still supposed to mix up for like 5 minutes. We're going to see if we can get that to work in any way. Like I said, this is just our backup that hopefully works in case the first one doesn't. In if neither of these work, well, then just screw it. We're going to have a very simple drink for you at the end of all of this. But hopefully this comes out and it's all for naught. So I will let you know how it goes. All right, everyone, welcome back. Don't have high hopes about this, but we're going to try it. As you saw last night, I made a second batch of the sodium alginate just to see. Neither of them particularly really thickened up. This one, the blender one, did maybe a little bit more. We're going to try it. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. We'll move on. We'll proceed. Okay, so the next step, if this theoretically is going to work, take just like a bottle of water, pour it in another container, 12 ounces. Into our 12 ounces of water, we're going to add our second ingredient, which is 1 gram of calcium lactate. So we're going to measure this out, add this to the water, stir that around. And that'll be our first step here. 1 gram measured out. Dump that in and stir to dissolve. I don't think this needs nearly as much time and consideration as the sodium alginate did with whatever you're going to mix it with. In this case, it was the pucker. But get this nice and dissolved, and let's see if this worked. All right, that probably did need about 90 seconds to 2 full minutes to get that completely dissolved. It should end up being pretty much clear as water again. So we're going to undo these, and we're going to use a pipette. In this case, a few other kind of tools available. They'll probably work a little bit better, but we're going to pull a little bit of this up and just cut 1 drop at a time, let it go into the calcium lactate. Make sure we just made, if it works, as soon as it hits the surface, it should form pretty much pearl spheres. If it doesn't, we'll know right away. And yet again, Josh's food chemistry course has failed. There we go. Yeah, I don't think we're getting our OWL in potions this term. Don't think this worked whatsoever. So we'll maybe try again sometime in the future and figure out what the hell the secret to this is. Who knows? But yeah, I guess that is that. We'll just move on, and I think I said earlier, we're gonna end up with a pretty simple drink later on, but oh well, again, we're trying. See you soon. So here we are making the rest of our drink. This will be quite simple and straightforward, but hopefully still tasty. You're going to add to a stemmed wine glass 1 ounce of plain regular vodka. To which you are then going to top the rest of the glass with lemonade. There's the Wolfsbane Potion. Drink that, you won't turn into a werewolf. I know. Thanks, guys. See you next time.